This is Doane Tiger football.
Welcome back to begin the second quarter. 1st and 10 for Dakota Wesleyan at the Doane 42-yard line. Austin Lee sends a man in motion. It's Nedved. Comes back to the near side. Lee looking to the near side, throwing it on a screen pass to Keel Nelson, who gets across the 40 and is dragged down inside the 35 and down to the 34. So Keel Nelson able to pick up about 8 yards on the play, and it's 2nd and 2 coming up here for Dakota Wesleyan. Now the Tigers from Dakota starting to get some offense going here. Now they just need to get some points on the board. Both teams have gotten some offense going so far. I mean, Dakota Wesleyan had 323 total yards of offense with 229 passing yards and 114 rushing yards last week against Hastings and that overtime defeat. Lee sends a man in motion. It's Nelson. They'll hand it off to Aaron, the tailback. Gets across the line of scrimmage and is met up on a gain of 1 yard. Actually, correction, so it was 3rd and 2. So make it 4th and 1 on Jarrett Boggs making the tackle. And I just wouldn't be surprised if Dakota Wesleyan goes for this one here. They were 1 for 1 on 4th down last week against Hastings. 42% on 3rd down. And for the moment, it looks like their offense is going to stay out on the field with 15 on the play clock. 13:45 to play in the second quarter. And it looks like Ross Simple is running over to the far side official. He's going to call a timeout here with 13:35 or so to go in this game. So timeout by Dakota Wesleyan on 4th and 1. They'll talk this one over and decide if they want to go for it on 4th and short in Doane territory. We'll be right back on Ole Red 99.5.
This is Doane Tiger football.
Welcome back to Crete, Nebraska. This is Ole Red 99.5's coverage of Doane University Tigers football. No score through 1. 13:33 to go in the second. Still 0-0 between the Tigers and the Tigers. Both of these teams, their mascots are Tigers. You don't see that very often, but I was talking to the Dakota Wesleyan play-by-play guy, and he said, well, at least one of the Tigers, at least the Tigers are going to win today. Who knows which team it's going to be, but Tigers are going to get the win today. So 4th and 1 coming up here for Austin Lee and the Dakota Wesleyan Tigers. Aaron is lined up as a tailback to his right. They're lined up in the gun here on 4th and short. Austin Lee. Oh, that's going to be a false start. Got to be a false start here on Dakota Wesleyan, I believe. There could be a chance this might be on Doane. It's 50-50. We'll see. Believe that's a false start. If it's offsides, it'll move this chains. And I believe it's going to be a false start here on Dakota Wesleyan, and they're going to bring out the field goal unit. So it's going to go a false start here on Parker Grotjohn. And they're going to actually have to punt this one away from midfield. So tough break for Dakota Wesleyan. And Keel Nelson, the puncher, will come back to punt this one from his own 45. It's Jeremiah Payne, the punt returner, standing back at his own 10-yard line. Jeremiah Payne, this season, 4 punt returns for only 13 yards. Low snap. Nelson gets it, punts it up in the air. Fair catch signal by Payne, and he grabs it at the 8-yard line. So that's where Doane will set up shop here with 13:27 to go here in the second quarter. This game between Doane and Dakota Wesleyan on Ole Red 99.5 is sponsored by Crete Ace Hardware, the helpful hardware folks. Ken's You Safe Pharmacy, caring for you and about you. Crete Area Medical Center in front of Wilbur Clinics. Stop and Shop in Crete, fast and fresh and fun. Fisher's Beer, Wine and Spirits in Crete, and by Jay's Oil and Propane in Crete. We thank you to all of our sponsors. This game helping us out here, helping us give you these games here on Ole Red 99.5. 1st and 10 from the 8, from their own 8 for Doane. Kerwin going to give it to Tristan Graff, who cuts upfield and gets across the 10. Marked down at the 13-yard line, so it's a gain of about 5 on the play. It'll be second, actually gain of 4, 2nd and 4. So they marked him on the fair catch at the 9 officially. 13 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Kerwin lined up with Tristan Graff. Payne's on the near side to Rizzo and Gutierrez on the far side for Doane. Lined up in the slot, looks like it's Nate Fox. They'll flip it to the near side for Tristan Graff. Stiff arms a man and gets across the 15 and out of bounds at the 19-yard line. He's just at the line to gain. We'll see if they mark him short or if they just move the chains. And they're going to say move the chains, so it's a pickup of 6 on the play. First down for Doane off of Tristan Graff. So nice play coming in here for Graff. He's doing a phenomenal job. Now Kerwin's going to go 5 wide on 1st and 10 from their own 19. The Doane defense right in front of me to the right on the near side, getting a talking to by the defensive coordinator, Sean Henry. Kerwin is going to look to his left and throw it on a screen pass and complete it for Gutierrez across the 30 and going across the 40 as he's wrapped up and flipped at the 45. Joaquin Gutierrez coming into this game with only 4 receptions for 68 yards. Makes a nice pickup on the play of about 24 yards, or 25 yards, I should say, out to the 45-yard line. 1st and 10 to midfield for Doane. Starting to get something to go. Still no score, under 12 to play in the second quarter here in Crete. What a performance it's been so far for the Doane Tigers. Completely different this week on offense than last week. Kerwin looking to his left, and now he rolls to his left. And he's going to tuck it and run it across the 45, out of bounds on the far side at the 47-yard line. So a pickup of 2 on the play, and it's going to be 2nd and 8. Knocking him out of bounds on that play was Grayson Hansen, the outside linebacker. He already has a forced fumble this season, Hansen, and a tackle for loss as well. But Kerwin can use his legs and run here. That is not out of the question at all for Doane. Cruz Kerwin this season actually has negative 28 rushing yards, but he can still use his legs to run. He hasn't been very lucky sometimes. Kerwin to pass, looks to the near side, and it's caught by DeRizzo as he rolls down at the 49-yard line, nearly at midfield. It's a gain of 2, and it's 3rd and 6. So Doane needs to get across the 50-yard line and down to the 45, currently at their own 49 on 3rd and 6 with 10.5 to play in the second quarter. Trips on the far sideline for Doane. Kerwin has Jeremiah Payne lined up on the near side as the only receiver. Kerwin looks to the far side, winds up and fires down the field. He's got Gutierrez inside the 30 and out of bounds at the 25-yard line on the far sideline. Mark him out at the 24 officially. Joaquin Gutierrez is starting to make a huge impact offensively for Doane. That is a big pickup on the play of about 30 yards or so. 10 minutes to play in the second quarter. Now Doane inside the 25. Kerwin hands it off to Tristan Graff, and he is met behind the line. Loss of 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 13 on the carry by Tristan Graff. Ethan McCune was there on the tackle, the defensive end. I want to mention that also Caleb Majeski was in there as well, the nose tackle, and so was Romion Grieve. Basically, the entire defensive line got in there to tackle Tristan Graff for a loss. Trips on the near side for Doane on 2nd and 13. Kerwin looking to his left now and goes to Gutierrez. Oh, it's almost picked off. Incomplete. Almost intercepted by Vicente Zapeta, the junior, intended for Gutierrez, and now it's 3rd and long coming up here for Doane with 9.5 to play on the dot. This game is brought to you by Crete's Ace Hardware, the help for hardware folks. Ken's You Safe Pharmacy, caring for you and about you. Crete Area Medical Center, Friend and Wilbur Clinics, as well as Stop and Shop in Crete, fast and fresh and fun. And we're having fun today here in Crete. Doane tied up at 0-0 inside of Dakota Wesleyan territory at the moment. 3rd and long, though. 3rd and 13 for Kerwin. Backs up in the pocket, rolls to his right, goes to then the flat to Gutierrez, but it's a low throw and incomplete. And 4th and 13, ball placed at the 27. And here comes the Doane field goal unit trying to get on the board for the first time, or rather get the first points of the game on the board, I should say. 2 missed field goals in this game. One from 20 yards from Dakota Wesleyan's kicker, Jackson Patrick, and then the other one was from 45 by Kellen Meyer. Now he'll go from 44 and try to put Doane on the board. This is right smack dab in the middle of the field, right where you want to be, from 44 yards. Kellen Meyer to put Doane on the board. Snap is good. The hold is good. Kellen Meyer's kick is good. From 44 yards, Kellen Meyer puts Doane on the board to start the game. And there's the cannon. 9:21 to play in the second quarter. Kellen Meyer's 44-yard field goal is good to put Doane up 3-0 over Dakota Wesleyan. We'll be back right after this.
This is Doane Tiger Football.
Welcome back to Doane Tiger Football on Ole Red 99.5. For the first time this season, the Doane Tigers hold a lead. They lead 3-0 over Dakota Wesleyan here with 9:21 to play in the second quarter. They did not have the lead against Graceland one time in that game in Lamoni, Iowa, and last week they trailed the entire way. This is their first lead of the season coming in the second quarter of this game. Kellen Meyer, who just made the 44-yard field goal to make it 3-0, to kick this one off. And he sends it deep. This one will be taken at the goal line here by Dakota Wesleyan. And he stutter steps at the 10, goes to the near side, and knocked out of bounds at the 15-yard line. On the return, it's Keel Nelson, the punter, actually, for Dakota Wesleyan. Cooper Hancock, the one to push him out of bounds, and Dakota Wesleyan will start at the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 with 9:14 to play in the second quarter.
After a kickoff,
so
to 40 seconds, and
we're getting a call here from the referee. So 9:14 to play. This game is brought to you by Fisher's Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Crete, Jay's Oil and Propane in Crete, by Heath Sports Shop online at heathsportsshop.com, Pinnacle Bank of Crete, member FDIC, and Citibank and Trust in Crete, member FDIC. Thank you to all of our sponsors. 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line for Dakota Wesleyan's offense, led by Austin Lee, the sophomore quarterback. Lee to throw on the first play, looking over the middle of the field, and that one's almost intercepted and incomplete. It went right in and out of the hands of Reese Sudafern and almost picked off on the play by Jaheim Fuller. It went right down, right in front of him. That was a close call, but good defense by Sudafern to break up that pass nonetheless, and it's 2nd and 10. 9:10 to play here in the second quarter. This Doane defense starting to show what they're made of here. They struggled in the first 2 weeks, giving up 42 in week 1, and then in week 2 they gave up 49. But they're starting to say, hey, we know that we're good enough to hold these teams to a few points. Play action and a throw over the middle. It's complete across the 40-yard line. He'll get dragged down officially at the 41. It's complete to Cole Holden on the play, and a big pickup right there out to the 41-yard line. So they pick up officially in total about 26 yards for the first down. And Dakota Wesleyan now almost out to midfield. They're now not backed up with their backs to their own end zone here. 1st and 10 for the Tigers of Dakota Wesleyan. Play action again. Lee to the near side and incomplete for Holden. Went right in and out of his hands on the near side. Good defense on the play by Jaheim Fuller. Fuller this season, 2 tackles for him coming into this game. But he's done more than just force a few missed tackles. He has 2 pass breakups coming into this game on defense for Doane. So it'll be 2nd and 10 at the 41 for Dakota Wesleyan. Lee walks up to his line of scrimmage a little bit with 7 on the play clock. Austin Lee, man in motion, play action for Lee. Stepping up in the pocket and firing over the middle and finding his man across midfield as he's brought down at the 43-yard line. It's caught on the play by Nolan Dvorak. So Dvorak makes the tackle, his second catch of the game. The sophomore tight end was wide open over the middle. It was zone coverage from Doane and never picked up Dvorak. So Dakota Wesleyan now across midfield to the Doane 42-yard line on the big pickup on the play. 1st and 10. Austin Lee has Garrett Mandolfa lined up to his right and hands it off to Mandolfa, who parries forward for a gain of 2.
Garrett Mandolfa.
So it'll be 2nd and 8 coming up here. So the first carry of the game for Mandolfa, the backup to Jamin Arend, the main tailback for Dakota Wesleyan. But they are looking good right now. Dakota Wesleyan putting a little bit of a good drive together here with 7.5 to play in the second quarter. 2nd and 8 here for the Tigers from Dakota. Got one receiver lined up on the far side. Might be one-on-one coverage on the far side. Play action for Lee. He's looking, and now he fires it over the middle, and it's complete across the 40 and down to the 36-yard line by DeVork again. So it's a nice pickup on the play of about 4 yards, and it'll set up 3rd and short. 3rd and about 4 yards coming up here for Dakota Wesleyan. So Nolan DeVork has made some big plays in this game so far. Nolan DeVork coming into this game has no catches on the season so far. Coming into this game at least. So 3rd and short, 3rd and 4. Crowd trying to get into it here. Austin Lee in the pocket, pressured off the edge, gets the ball off, and it's incomplete. Over the middle. Incomplete intended on that play, I think, to Logan Fearbacht. And it lined up in the slot. And it's 4th and 4, and here comes this is actually a toss-up, folks. I believe this is the field goal unit here. And actually, correction, this is going to be the punt unit. So Dakota Wesleyan is going to punt it here on 4th and 4 from the Doane 36. Keel Nelson to punt for the second time tonight, or rather today, I should say. Last week's game was at 7 p.m. because of just egregious heat, but this game here at 1 p.m. way better this week. Low snap for Nelson and gets it off. Jeremiah Payne, fair catch signaled at the 8-yard line. That's where they will set up shop again. We'll take a quick 30-second break on Ole Red 99.5.
This is Doane Tiger Football.
Welcome back to Crete, Nebraska. There's a quick play that was run from the 8-yard line out to the 12 by Frazee Wynn. It was a running play, gain of 3, I guess, officially. So 2nd and 7 coming up here for Doane. We got John DeRizzo lined up on the far side. And then on the near side here, looks like for Doane, it's going to be Darnell Riley. They'll hand it off to Frazee Wynn instead. He cuts upfield and gets across the 20, and he's wrapped up and brought down at the 25. Frazee Wynn with a nice carry. That is a big pickup on the play, and that's a first down. Pickup of about 17 yards on the play. So Doane getting that running offense going. We talked to Coach Bessler, and he just said that, well, you got to get blocking up front. If you want the run to work, you got to get blocking. And so far, the blocking has been good enough for Frazee Wynn and Tristan Graff to be getting some of these good runs here. I mean, Tristan Graff had a 60-yard run earlier on in the game. Frazee Wynn gets the call again and tripped over his own feet on a gain of about 1 yard, and makes it 2nd and 9. Leighton Eady on the tackle. So 2nd and 9 coming up here for Doane. And we want to mention that this game is brought to you by Fisher's Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Crete. Stop and shop in Crete, fast and fresh and fun. Crete Area Medical Center, Friend and Wilbur Clinics. Ken's You Save Pharmacy, caring for you and about you. And Crete Ace Hardware, the help for hardware folks. 5 wide here for Cruz Kerwin. We'll see what he does. Kerwin backing up in the pocket, throwing it over the middle. It's complete over the middle and across the 40-yard line. He drags defenders with him as he's brought down at the 43-yard line. J-Bot Garcia, his 2nd reception of the season, able to be a nice pickup of a first down right there. All they needed was 9 yards, and they picked up about 15 on the play. Doane knocking on the doorstep of midfield. Ball at the 43-yard line. 1st and 10 for Kerwin. Kerwin hands it off to Frazee Wynn. Powers forward and gets about 3 yards on the play. The ball popped out at the end of the play, but he was already marked down. Picks up 3, and it's 2nd and 7 coming up here for the Tigers. So they mark him down officially. No fumble on the play here. So in the first quarter, Doane in total had 78 rushing yards. And in passing yards, they had 17. Dakota Wesleyan only had 16 passing yards for an offense that averages about over 200 passing yards a game. That's a shock. They go 3 receivers on the far side. Cruz Kerwin getting pressured off the edge and throws it out of bounds. Jeremiah Payne was in the vicinity, but he was blitzed on the play by Dakota Wesleyan by Victor Kinesh as well, by a couple other guys as well.
Number 13 was in the area of
So the ref confirming that Jeremiah Payne was in the area of the pass, so no intentional grounding by Kerwin. 3rd and 7 now from the 46 for Kerwin. They go trips on the far side. Jeremiah Payne lined up on the near side. Frazee Wynn in the backfield with Kerwin. They need to get across midfield to the Dakota Wesleyan 47. Kerwin to pass. Has a lot of time in the pocket and fires it, and incomplete. 2 guys were in the vicinity right there. It was Joaquin Gutierrez as well as Carson Reimers. Incomplete, and it's 4th and 7. And Doane's going to have to punt it with 3:18 to play in the second quarter. Still a 3-0 lead for Doane over Dakota Wesleyan after a 44-yard field goal by Kellen Meyer. Now he'll be out there to punt it from his own 30. Back to return it is Landon Rusink, standing at his own 15. High snap for Meyer, takes it, sends it away. Rusink makes a catch at the 17, cuts upfield across the 25, and he's wrestled down at the 25, or at the 27, I should say. Nice return of about 10 yards there for Rusink. Well, the overall series between these two teams, Doane is 25-13-1 against Dakota Wesleyan, including a win last year over the Tigers from the north. They won that game last year by a final score of 16-13. So, pretty good game last year between those two teams, but it was a really big kick return touchdown by Jeremiah Payne, which propelled Doane forward to win that game. 1st and 10, play action for Lee. Goes it over the middle, and it's incomplete.
Pass incomplete.
Intended on the play to Keel Nelson, but it was incomplete. Would have been a big gain on the play if you completed that pass, and it's 2nd and 10 instead inside the 30 with 3:05 to play in this second quarter. They're trying to multiple times target Keel Nelson. He is the second best receiver on this team in terms of total receptions, with 7 coming into this game for 111 yards. Cole Holden had 8 for 135. Doane sending blitz, and they will. And they'll hand it off, and oh, what a play. They send blitz. No gain on the play. Jared Smith, the linebacker, gets the tackle for loss. It's a loss of 2 yards. And 3rd and 12 coming up here. Aaron had nowhere to go. Jared Smith had no tackles for loss coming into this game. Did have a fumble return, but he gets his first tackle for loss of the season right there. 3rd and long coming up here with 2.5 to go in the second quarter. Lee with trips on the near side. 6 on the play clock. Lee to throw. Looking around, rolling to his right, throwing it downfield. It's incomplete. Intended on the play, I believe. So it was Seward to break that pass up. It looks like it was Logan Fearbocht, or rather it was actually Preston Nedved who was the intended receiver. It's incomplete. They were about to get that out to midfield if the catch was made. Good coverage there by Seward. Seward has been really good as a safety. 2 forced fumbles coming into this game and 5 tackles. But he's also done good as well with breaking up some passes too. 1 pass breakup coming into this game. That's a second right there. Dakota Wesleyan punts it from their own 15. Jeremiah Payne, or rather it's DeRizzo on for the return as this one lands out of bounds at the 40-yard line. We'll take a quick 30-second break with 2:13 to go in the first half. 3-0 Doane.
This is Doane Tiger Football.
Welcome back to Doane Tiger Football. Frazee Wynn had a short 2-yard pickup to the 45-yard line. So it's 2nd and 8 coming up here. Doane nearly at midfield. Doane trying to get something to go here with a 1:50 to go in the first half. Still do have all 3 of their timeouts. 3 lined up on the near side. They send 1 in motion. Carson Reimers goes to the far side. Kerwin looking to his right and rolls around to his right in the pocket. He's getting pressured. Kerwin stepped out of bounds at the 43, and that's going to be a late hit on Dakota Wesleyan as he was tackled while he was out of bounds on the play. Making the tackle was Cody Winslow, the late tackle, I should say. There's a flag, and it's going to be unnecessary roughness. Late hit on Dakota Wesleyan. as Kerwin would have lost 2 yards on that play, but instead he's going to get across midfield.
Personal foul, number 40.
So it's going to go on Winslow. He comes into this game with
Automatic first down.
0.5 tackles for loss, and unfortunately he will not get a tackle for loss on that play. Instead it'll be a penalty. So tough break at the end of the day for Dakota Wesleyan. They had that play kind of dead to rights. They come into this game with 10 penalties for 102 yards off of those penalties in their first 2 games. Doane goes 5 wide with 1:34 to play. 1st and 10 across midfield at the Dakota Wesleyan 42. Kerwin takes a snap in the pocket, going across the field, and it's complete on the far side to Joaquin Gutierrez as he gets down to the 30-yard line. So they're able to pick up 12 yards on the reception. It's 1st and 10. 1:28 to go, and as the chains move, the clock stops. Lucky for Doane. They still do have 3 timeouts as the clock starts to run with 1:25 to play. Kerwin getting the call here from his OC, Mike Dixon, over on the sideline. Hands on his knees, hoping that they can get some points out of this drive. Kerwin looking to his right, throwing it to Jeremiah Payne on the near side. Gets inside the 20, and he's wrestled down at the 17-yard line. So Payne able to pick up 13 yards on the catch. 1st down, Doane, with 1:05 to go. And the chains move again, folks. The clock stops again. Now the clock runs. We hit a minute to go.
1st and 10 at the 17.
1 minute to play. They're not running the clock, but the ref is signaling to run the clock, interestingly enough. Kerwin pump fakes to the near side. Now he throws it out of bounds.
Kerwin's pass.
So incomplete. Intended on the play. Can't actually quite tell who that is. That might be J-Bot Garcia over there, and it was. 58 seconds to play here. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 17-yard line. Kerwin playing really, really good right now with passing the football. And so is Joaquin Gutierrez, who came into this game with only 4 receptions, but he has been a focal point of this passing game tonight. Send a man in motion is to Rizzo. Kerwin. They're going to hand it off to Frazee Wynn, who cuts up field, and he lost the football. It's on the turf. It's scooped up by Doane. Scooped up at the 17-yard line. He got down to the 14 and then lost the football. It's a fumble. Luckily, Doane covers it. It looked like on the play it was Jason Wilson who recovered the ball. Timeout by Doane here with 48 on the clock. So their first timeout will stay here. And thank our sponsors today. Crete Ace Hardware, helpful hardware folks. Got Ken's YouSave Pharmacy caring for you and about you. Crete Area Medical Center, Friend and Wilbur Clinics. Stop and shop in Crete, fast and fresh and fun. And thank you to Fisher's Beer, Wine, and Spirits. So we're getting closer to halftime. And this is a low-scoring affair. 3-0 Doane leading it over Dakota Wesleyan here in Crete, Nebraska. And folks, next week's game is going to be interesting. They're on the road going up against Northwestern, the defending NAIA champions. So it's not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. And then they go on a 9-hour bus ride to Jamestown, North Dakota a week later. So 2 weeks from today, they'll be in Jamestown going up against that team. And then in 3 weeks, they'll be back home going up against Morningside. And that's a hard game, too. Morningside 2 years ago were the NAIA champions. So definitely not easy games at all coming up here for Doane, but they're playing good right now, and they lead at 3-0. 3rd and 10 coming up here with 48 seconds to go after the timeout. Frazee Wynn lined up in the backfield with Kerwin. Jeremiah Payne on the near side, 3 on the far side. Kerwin to pass, looking to Frazee Wynn, who's wide open, breaking across the 10, and getting into the end zone for the touchdown. Frazee Wynn, a 17-yard touchdown reception, his first of the season, and Doane extends their first half lead. Frazee Wynn got out of the flat. It was such a great play call from Bessler. Jeremiah Payne, who was lined up on the near side, cut across the field on a slant route, brought his defender with him, and the safety who was lined up against Frazee Wynn couldn't get to Wynn in time. And Wynn broke free and got into the end zone for a touchdown. A 17-yard touchdown pass for Kerwin, his third touchdown pass of the season, and the first touchdown reception for Frazee Wynn. On the extra point, Kellen Myers' extra point is good. Kellen Meyer is now 4 for 4 on extra points this season, and it's 10-0. Doane leading it over Dakota Wesleyan. So a 17-yard touchdown pass from Cruz Kerwin to Frazee Wynn. Doane leads at 10-0 over Dakota Wesleyan with 42 seconds to play in the first half. We'll be right back on Ole Red 99.5.
This is Doane Tiger Football.
Welcome back to Doane University Tigers football on Ole Red 99.5. What a performance by Doane offensively. They lead 10-0 after a 17-yard touchdown pass on the previous play. Now it's Kellen Meyer on to kick this one off. Standing back to return it, I believe, is for Dakota Wesleyan is Keel Nelson. This kick is high in the air, and Keel Nelson is going to let it go into the end zone for a touchback. Let's do a quick little scoring summary here in this first half. It's been a really low-scoring first half, but it was a field goal made early in the second quarter by Kellen Meyer from 44 yards to make it 3-0 Doane. There's been a few turnovers, but there's been really good defense by both teams. And then on the previous play, it was a 17-yard touchdown pass from Cruz Kerwin to Frazee Wynn. Doane leads at 10-0 over Dakota Wesleyan with 42 seconds to go in the first half. 2 timeouts for Dakota Wesleyan. This team is a pass-heavy offense, so they can definitely get into the field goal range at least with 42 seconds. They're going to hand it off to Aaron on the first play. He gets across the 25-yard line and gets out to the 26, 1 yard on the play, and I think Dakota Wesleyan is just going to try to bring this one to the halftime break as this clock runs underneath 25 seconds. I want to do a quick update for all of you Nebraska Cornhusker fans listening at home. Colorado leading it over Nebraska 29-7 early in the fourth quarter. That game can be watched on Fox. Colorado just taking college football by storm with Deion Sanders and giving a lot of popularity to it. The total viewership of last week's game between Colorado and TCU was 17 million at one point. Well, that will bring us to the halftime break here in Crete, Nebraska. Doane leading it over Dakota Wesleyan 10-0 off of a 44-yard field goal by Kellen Meyer. He's now 2 for 3, or rather he's 2 for 4 on the season. And then it was a 17-yard touchdown pass from Cruz Kerwin, delivering it to Frazee Wynn. So we'll send it to the halftime break here. 10-0, Doane leading it over Dakota Wesleyan. We'll be back after this on Ole Red 99.5.